Hey everyone, Tristan here. I want to talk to you about an exciting new product today. So normally I spend a lot of time talking about sharp swords, which is redundant, but moving past. What we've got here today is actually a padded sword. This is a new product by Nihonzashi, and it's actually based on a training sword for the Japanese sword arts community, but now we finally have one for the HEMA community as well. Let's go check it out.
So Gekken is a practice tool, just like Tameshigiri is, test cutting. It's not a style. Basically, you're going to have kata. Kata by itself, you're just learning movement and forms. But in the kata, you're learning about pressure, how to pressure your opponent to react or do something so you can set them up. But you can only test that really through Gekken, because now you have an opponent that you have to try that against and make them do what the kata teaches you to do. So after you learn how to do that, then what you learn in Gekken, you bring it back to your kata, then apply it. So these Gekken swords were created by and made by Nihonzashi, my female sensei. So they look like foam, but they're very tough. So this is the only way when you're doing parry techniques, it'll actually hold. But even more so is that if you get hit, there is a negative result for it, it will hurt. But because they're solid, you can definitely parry. But just like in kata, try to see if you can pressure what you've learned and then apply it. So that way it's not set up, you have to make it your setup to fight your opponent. But yeah, these are our practice tools and they do hurt.
It's a Gekken longsword. It's straight, a little longer than this, has two red markers for edges, it's got a cross guard. For us, it's not going to make a huge difference because we've been using these for years. For the other people in HEMA who are hesitant to adopt something that looks like a katana, for them just to discover the joy of fighting with these things, because it's, you wear all that gear and you're kind of like isolated from the fighting. You're doing it, you're there, but you're not. You're inside this, bubble. And it hurts sometimes when you get hit, but not usually and not often. These things let you fight as you are. If you're not afraid of risking pain, you could fight without any kind of protection. Just with your hands. So you can do a lot of subtle things with your fingers that you can't do with big bulky gloves on. You could see much better. Your peripheral vision. It's like you're actually there. You're doing it. You're face to face with this person. Nuances of expression. Someone who might do this before they attack, you can read that. As opposed to inside a mask, you're lucky if you can even see their face. So the longsword's just going to, instead of using these, they're going to allow us to do more of our techniques. Now, we have a cross guard. We can do things that rely on that. We have a little extra length, so it's a little more closer to the weapon that we're training to use. Mike Femmel, who makes these things, his philosophy is that it should hurt every time you get hit. So they're not like with the boffer swords that people are used to. They're not flexible, not very. The padding is very firm. So when you get hit, it's going to hurt a lot. So people who are like, oh, padded swords, let's have fun, whack, and they'll be like, ah, holy shit, that hurts like hell. So they're not toys. Like you shouldn't use these to fight with your kids, like you can with a boffer type sword. They're not really for beginners. They're especially not for people who take big swings because they hurt a lot. Use them to work on some of the more subtle things that you're doing. Use them to kind of like free yourself of all this crap that you have to wear. If you're training for, or partly for competition, you're going to want to keep fighting with steel. And also, some things with steel work better, technique-wise, so you don't want to ever get rid of steel. But some things work better with a sword like this. So you kind of want both of them working together. There's no one simulator is perfect. Each one has pros and cons, and if you have very different pros and cons, they complement each other, so that works out well. Use them supplementally with steel. We're training to use a sharp sword, right, or sharp weapons, daggers, poleaxes, all that stuff. We're not training to use the feathers in competition, right? So a lot of the artifacts that come from wearing big, bulky stuff, we don't want to burn that into our muscle memory. We want to use those things sometimes because it's a helpful tool, but this lets us fight in a way that frees us from the constraints of that. Not that this doesn't have its own artifacts, but again, the two things complement each other. It's a completely different feeling. It's mesmerizing. It's incredible. You free yourself of all that plastic
I really think these are going to do great things for the HEMA community, or at least the longsword community. I hope you found this review helpful. Go check them out at nihonzashi.com. And, of course, thanks for watching. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, and join our Patreon. Take care.